On the morning of August 13th, a group including Shimizu Hideo, a former member of the Japanese Unit 731 during the invasion of China, came to the exhibition hall of the criminal evidence of the Japanese Unit 731 in Pingfang District, Harbin City, for identification and confession. Shimizu Hideo is 94 years old this year. In March 1945, at the age of 14, he was conscripted as a teenage soldier and was sent to the headquarters of the Japanese Unit 731 in Harbin. On August 14, 1945, he fled back to Japan with the Japanese troops Jin Chungmin. The curator of the exhibition hall of the criminal evidence of the Japanese Unit 731 said, "Shimizu Hideo is very likely the last former member of Unit 731 to return to Harbin for repentance and apology." Previously, Shimizu Hideo had written, "Historical facts cannot be covered up. I am determined to return to the former site of the Japanese Unit 731 during the invasion of China in my lifetime. Express my deepest apology to the injured Chinese people, and hope to rouse more people's reflection and vigilance. Cherish the hard-won peace, and avoid the repetition of the tragedy of war." 94-year-old Shimizu Hideo arrived in Harbin on the 12th. Shimizu Hideo, who had just celebrated his 94th birthday, appeared at the departure gate of Kansai International Airport in Osaka, Japan, and boarded a flight to China. After 79 years, this former teenage soldier of the Japanese invading forces is about to return to the origin that left him with a heavy memory throughout his life, the former site of the Japanese Unit 731 in Harbin, China. Now the exhibition hall of the criminal evidence of the Japanese Unit 731. On the evening of August 12th, Shimizu Hideo, the former member of the teenager team of the Japanese Unit 731 referred to as Unit 731, arrived in Harbin by plane. Caption: Xinhua News Agency. Even though there is opposition from Japanese public opinion and my health is not good, still, I want to put aside all concerns and go to China. On the 10th, before departure, the elderly man disclosed his determination to go to China to apologize in his home in Nagano Prefecture to Xinhua News Agency reporters. "This is my first time going abroad after the war and also my first return to China," Shimizu said. "Rather than worrying about how the Chinese will treat me when I arrive in China, I think those Japanese politicians probably wish I were dead." Previous report: Shimizu Hideo, male, 94 years old, deeply sinful, will go to China in August to confess and apologize. On July 5 local time, Shimizu Hideo, a former member of the teenager team of the Japanese Unit 731 during the invasion of China, held a press conference at the Peace Memorial Hall in Ida City, Nagano Prefecture. He said he was extremely eager to go to China to confess and apologize to the victims of the war, disclose the identity of the teenager team member, and continuously give public speeches to expose the crimes of Unit 731 in 1945. Shimizu, as one of the last batch of teenage soldiers of Unit 731, stayed in Harbin for more than 4 months. On August 14th of the same year, he fled China with the defeated troops in 2016. Shimizu and his family visited the peace exhibition held by the Ida City Peace Materials Collection Committee and saw the surgical tools and other evidence left by Kuroda Masakanai, a former member of Unit 731. After that, he decided to disclose his identity as a member of the teenager team of Unit 731, devote himself to peace activities, and expose the crimes of the Japanese bacteriological troops during the invasion of China. Since then, he has continuously given public speeches, telling his experiences in Unit 731. He gave public speeches 6 times in 2023 alone. Shimizu wrote in his memoir, "On the morning of August 11, Showa 201945, an elder said, It's still smoking. I guess that should be the maruta in Japanese. It means lumber. Referring to the live people captured by the Japanese army for experiments being burned in the special prison. On the 12th, I entered the special prison to pick up the unburned human bones. On the 13th, we loaded all kinds of luggage onto the truck and waited for the departure order. This is a bacterial incubator on display in the exhibition hall of the criminal evidence of the Japanese Unit 731 in Harbin City, Heilongjiang Province. Caption: Xinhua News Agency. These accounts angered some Japanese people who were unwilling to face the historical truth. Shimizu took out a report from 2017 and showed it to the reporter. This is a report where a Japanese congressman publicly insulted me. My name is on it, he said. This old man, Shimizu Hideo, is completely lying, facing doubts and attacks. Shimizu responded with his own personal experiences and undeniable historical materials. Shimizu said that when evacuating from China, the superiors gave an order requiring everyone to destroy the evidence related to Unit 731. However, a small amount of materials were still brought back to Japan, confirming the fact that he had served in Unit 731. This is the wall of anti-human atrocities written in 6 languages in the exhibition hall of the criminal evidence of the Japanese Unit 731 in Harbin City, Heilongjiang Province. Caption: Xinhua News Agency. Shimizu took out a group photo of himself in the teenager team of Unit 731 and pointed to the 4 people in the last row and said, "The 4 of us were classmates from the same school in Nagano. We joined the 4th and also the last batch of the 731 teenage soldiers together." This photo was secretly brought back by a classmate when we evacuated from China. While saying that, Shimizu took out the reserve list of Unit 731 again, and his name was also on it. Not only that, Shimizu also took out 3 old banknotes printed with Manchuria's central bank and said, "This was the banknote exchanged for us by the troops at that time, which could be used in Harbin City. This is the only thing I brought back in my pocket." The experience of more than 4 months in Harbin has become a haunting nightmare for Shimizu. Throughout his life, he once witnessed specimens of fetuses, infants, and young children in the specimen room of Unit 731 with his own eyes. Shimizu disclosed to the reporter that since the birth of his first child, whenever I hear the cry of a child at night, the image of the specimen room of Unit 731 will come to my mind, as if those deceased children are crying. When mentioning the specimen room, Shimizu's eyes moistened instantly. Return to China. Shimizu has 2 wishes after 79 years. Stepping on Chinese soil again. Shimizu said he has 2 wishes. First, sincerely pray for those who were persecuted by Unit 731 in my personal name and apologize to the families of the victims. Second, I want to learn about the situation of the plague victims in Harbin after Japan's defeat. There are very few testimonies about this aspect in Japan. After Japan's defeat, the rats carrying the plague bacteria were released. If people were infected with the plague, I think it would be extremely painful, Shimizu said after packing his luggage. On the afternoon of the 10th, Shimizu deliberately went to the Peace Memorial Hall in Ida City, Nagano Prefecture to participate in the 35th Shinsu War exhibition for peace being held here. In 2015, it was when Shimizu visited the exhibition here that he inadvertently revealed his identity. It was also under the encouragement of the executive committee of the Shinsu War exhibition for peace that Shimizu began to give public speeches and expose and criticize the atrocities of the Japanese invading forces in 2016. The head of this Japanese folk peace group, Hara Hideaki, told reporters that Shimizu, disregarding his 94-year-old age, resolutely decided to go to China, which is admirable. Being able to repent to the deceased requires an extremely strong belief and courage. We hope that the Japanese government can also pay attention to Shimizu's actions and give serious consideration to politicians' apology in China. We raised funds to support Shimizu's trip to China. Among these donors are both our members and Japanese people from Tokyo, Osaka, Hokkaido and other places who support peace and friendship activities, said Hara Hideaki. On June 1, Japanese scholar Matsunose Wright donated photocopied materials of the staff list of the Japanese Unit 731 Durin The invasion of China to the International Peace Materials Museum of Heilongjiang, International Studies University. Caption: Xinhua News Agency. The former president of the institution, the over 90-year-old Kubota Noboru, also came to the event. The elderly Kubota said, Unit 731 is the most typical representative of Japan's aggressive war. I hope that after Shimizu arrives in China, he will apologize to the local people. This is something only Shimizu, who has participated in Unit 731, can do. This time, more than 20 doctors from the Osaka Prefectural Insurance Doctors Association are traveling with Shimizu. A member of the association, Harada Fumio, said, during the war, Unit 731 carried out bacterial experiments and live experiments under the guise of medical experiments on a large scale. The purpose was not to save people, but to kill people. Such a cruel history is unknown to many Japanese people, which is unacceptable. On the 12th, the elderly Shimizu set off from Kansai International Airport in Osaka and flew to Harbin via Shanghai. Looking at Shimizu's back as he walked into the security checkpoint, his words echoed in the reporter's ears again. I want to go to China to tell my testimony. This is for peace. Shimizu Hideo published a signed article. Historical facts cannot be covered up. On August 12, 2024, the 16th edition of People's Daily published Shimizu Hideo's article Historical Facts Cannot Be Covered Up. The article pointed out, historical facts cannot be covered up. I am determined to return to the former site of the Japanese Unit 731 during the invasion of China in my lifetime. Express my deepest apology to the injured Chinese people, and also hope to rouse more people's reflection and vigilance. Cherish the hard-won peace, and avoid the repetition of the tragedy of war in 1945. I was only 14 years old. In March of that year, recommended by my school teacher, I went to the Japanese Unit 731 during the invasion of China located on the outskirts of Harbin and became a teenage soldier. In August, Japan surrendered in defeat and I returned to Japan with the troops. Since then, I have learned the true face of the bacteriological warfare and human experiments carried out by Unit 731, and I deeply regret having been a member of it after returning to Japan. We were ordered to hide our service experience in Unit 731. We're not allowed to hold government positions, and we're not allowed to have any contact with the troops. Therefore, for a long time, I never disclosed my past service in Unit 731 to anyone. Until 10 years ago, at an exhibition with an anti-war theme, I met Yoshizawa Akira, the deputy representative of the Association for Thinking About the Peace Memorial Hall in Ida City, and the communication with him made me start to have new thoughts about the war. Later, I first talked to Yoshizawa Akira about the situation of Unit 731 and finally decided to no longer be silent. Through public speeches, interviews, and other methods, I told my personal experiences and what I saw and heard, exposed the numerous crimes committed by Unit 731 in China, and let more people know about that dark history. During my time in the teenager team of Unit 731, my superior officer told me, if I wanted to become a surgeon, I had to dissect at least 3 corpses. I clearly remember that in the specimen exhibition room of Unit 731, there were no shortage of specimens of infants and young children. Over the years, Whenever I saw my grandchildren, I would recall those specimens of infants and young children I saw in the specimen exhibition room. Back then, every time I thought of this, I felt extremely painful and deeply guilty. On the eve of Japan's surrender in August 1945, in order to cover up their crimes, Unit 731 blew up prisons and other facilities, massacred the imprisoned prisoners and burned the corpses before fleeing China. I participated in carrying bombs and picking up the burned bones many years ago. I decided to publicly exhibit the only photo I kept of Unit 731 and the related testimony. In June 2022, when the reference room of the Ida City Peace Memorial Hall was preparing to move the exhibition board related to Unit 731 into the exhibition hall of the Ida City Peace Memorial Hall, it suddenly received a notice from the city's Education Committee, claiming that the photos and testimony related to Unit 731 could not be exhibited in the hall, and the expression Nanjing Massacre must also be changed to Nanjing Incident. This aroused strong dissatisfaction among many people. Under pressure, the Ida City Education Committee held a seminar in February 2023 to discuss the expression of the exhibition board related to Unit 731. But the conclusion of the seminar was that the content of the original exhibition board is too cruel and exceeds the scope of Japanese school textbooks. Until today, my testimony is still not adopted by the exhibition hall of the Ida City Peace Memorial Hall. Nowadays, the tendency of the Japanese government to deny the fact that Unit 731 carried out bacteriological warfare and evade the responsibility for the harm caused by the war is becoming more and more obvious. The current Japanese government not only has not seriously reflected on the past war crimes, but also has not assumed the due historical responsibility of the war perpetrators. The crimes committed by the Japanese invading forces in China were extremely cruel and heinous, and they should sincerely apologize to the victims. I firmly oppose the behavior of the Japanese government in continuously hollowing out the pacifist constitution, increasing military expenditure and expanding armaments. We do not need war, and Japan must not repeat the mistakes of war. Historical facts cannot be covered up. I am determined to return to the former site of the Japanese Unit 731 during the invasion of China in my lifetime, offer my deepest apology to the injured Chinese people, and also hope to arouse more people's reflection and vigilance, cherish the hard-won peace, and prevent the tragedy of war from happening again.